I've been making beats for about 10 years at this point. And if you are anything like me, maybe you're about 6 months to a year in or beyond that at this point, you might have asked yourself, why do my beats not sound loud and clear? Or maybe you're asking yourself, I feel like my beats are there creatively, but they just, they're getting overlooked. Or maybe you're like, I'm really figuring this mixing stuff down, but I just feel like artists are always passing up on my beats. Like, what about my beats do they not like? I felt all those things and more as a producer. And it's natural. This video is titled Five Reasons Why Your Type Beats Aren't Hitting and How to Fix It. But it's not all technical stuff. Okay. A lot of these things are, believe it or not, psychology. And I don't want to approach this where I'm trying to be your therapist, but I definitely just want to approach it for what's helped me specifically these past 10 years of a journey I've been on. Guys, I'm at the point now where I have weeks. I'm starting to get back into the swing of making beats again. But guys, there's been months where I don't make beats and I'll hop back on FL Studio and I'll make the best beat, or it would be as a beat that's so unique that I've never done anything like in the past, because now I don't want to say I have beat making mastered, though it is instinctual. All right. It's instinctual to where I don't have to remember how to do something. I just know how to do it. And so I don't have to think about the process of me making a beat. I can focus more on the feeling I want to create while making a beat. Okay. That's where you want to get at. That's the first reason why your type beats aren't hitting. It's because you think they should be hitting already. You think you should already be good at it. You haven't put enough work in. If you're still wondering how to make a beat, don't worry why your type beats aren't hitting. Okay? Focus on learning your tools. You want your tools to be an extension of who you are as a human. That's where your sound comes from. That's where your taste comes from. You want to know the secret sauce to Timbaland's sound, the secret sauce to Pharrell's sound, the secret sauce to Kanye's sound? It's their personality. It's their upbringing. It's the music they listened to as a kid. You're never going to get that. All right. But you don't need that because you have your own. You have your own upbringing. You have your own sound. All right. The secret to these people's sounds is who they are as a human. All right. Bad news is you can't replicate it. And if you do, you're always one step behind. The best news is that you have something else, something nobody else can replicate. But bringing it back is until it's instinctual, until you can make a beat without having to think about what you're doing or even why you're doing it, where it is an extension of who you are. FL Studio is an extension of who I am as a human being. Right? The same way that I don't have to think about how to get on a skateboard, how to push, if I see a crack in the road, how to ollie over it or maneuver my board, or like I don't have to think about, my skateboard is an extension of who I am, though I'm not as fluid on it as I was some years ago. I've been skating since the 5th grade. So that's the first reason why your type beats aren't hitting. You think you should already have it figured out. And when you think you have the information is when you end up missing the information. Okay. So that's the first thing. I appreciate everybody who's watching my channel, but I don't make this channel to like be your friend. I make this channel to, this is literally, honestly, this is like a journal for me. I'm making content that if Crispy can go back in time when he first started making beats, what is the content I wish I was watching? I'm making that content. All right. If we end up being cool, then hey, it's up. But if not, God bless you. That's the first thing. Stop thinking you need it. You should have it figured out already. Haven't put in enough work. And even when you have put in enough work, keep putting in the work. There's always something new to learn. Never go to sleep the same person you woke up as. All right. That's the first thing. Now, second thing is, getting onto some music stuff is my beats used to distort when I first started out. A lot of that is because I still use a lot of stuff on my stereo bus, but it was very unintentional back in the day. I was doing things because I saw that I need to use saturation from Mixbus TV, right? And then I saw Dave Pensado talk about something. And then I saw this little clip of Manny Marroquin mixing something from Rihanna, so on a Waves plugin. So I use that, and it's just you want to be able to understand the why behind what you're doing. All right, and that's why a lot of my channel, I'm perfectly fine taking 30 minutes to make a video instead of 5 or 10 minutes, because I want to explain why I'm doing something, what I'm listening for, and how I'm leveraging the tool that I'm using. Okay. So the second thing is knowing why you're doing something. That's one of the reasons why your type beats also aren't hitting. You're doing a lot of things other people are telling you to do, and you don't understand why you're doing them. And so what happens is you end up taking something that has a lot of potential, and then you get in the way of it by, you heard you need to have two limiters on, you need to have a clipper on, you need to go clip God Particle on your mix. Now, granted, I use God Particle, I use Orange Clip, I use these tools, but it's understanding like why you're using them, okay? Because let me tell you what's happened. You go through and you add all these things, add tape saturation, you add clippers, you do all these things without knowing why you're going for it, and you end up squishing dynamics, you end up complicating things. Let's just put it that way. All right. So understand to the best of your ability when you're reading and learning how to use these plugins, understand the why. Okay. And this is another cheat code for number 2. Instead of watching these people who make these plugin videos, guys, I'm one of them. I make plugin videos too. This isn't a diss towards plugin people who make plugin videos, because I do it too. But how I got my ear good is a lot of, if not majority of these plugins that we own, they emulate hardware equipment. Instead of just watching people who talk about the plugin, watch people who talk about the hardware, especially these classic pieces. Find an old guy who looks like he's been smoking cigarettes since the 5th grade, sitting in front of a desk, talk to you about why he reaches an 1176. All right, that guy has decades of experience with that compressor. All right. Learn how to use the software equivalent of hardware from people who actually use the hardware. All right, that's my rant. Third thing is poor balance. Okay? Things don't need to be as loud as you think they need to be. When you give everything its own space, things don't need to be as loud as you think they need to be. The reason why you can't hear your 808, and so you turn the 808 up, but now your song is distorting because the keyboard is too loud, the kick is too loud, the 808 is too loud, the snare is too loud. The reason why you have everything turned up so loud and it's so hard to hear things is because a lot of the times things are occupying the same space. And things do not need to be as loud as you think they need to be when they occupy their own space, as opposed to being all in the same space at the same time. Frequency wise, panning left to right wise, front to back, vertically. And I did a video on that when it comes to the keyboard. I talk about using effects. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but listen to this beat. Like, yeah, finally listen to some music. This is the beat that we have. This is the beat. Okay, listen to the keys, right? So I have chorus dimension on there. Listen to the keys specifically. The keys are a little bit more, they're not even a little, they're more in the middle. They're in the middle without this on. All right, so listen to not the left and right. Listen how it spreads, but listen to how it also relaxes into the stereo image a little bit more. All right. When I say relax into the stereo image, listen how it sits like further back. All right, in stereo field. So before. You see, so when this is in and when it's out, you can hear the kick in the 808 relationship. It's like when your music is too loud and then it's also in the middle, it's like a couple living in a one bedroom house, in a one bedroom apartment, and the keys are like the the brother, the little brother of the sister crashing on the couch in this one bedroom apartment. It's like they can't really thrive together. They're making it work. But when you put effects or a stereo spread or just pan things like the instruments, especially effects, I love using the chorus Dimension D on my main chords. I mean, it's all dependent. If like this was an acoustic piano, I probably wouldn't do this, but on synths and things like that, I can use this and very subtly, and it just creates space for the kick and 808 relationship to thrive. All right, so that's another thing. When everything is up in the middle, like your kick, and I have a video on this. You should go watch that. Actually, it's really good. I wish I would have saw that when I first started out. Think about this: your kick, 808 vocals, and your snare slash clap are going to be the loudest things in your mix. So you should move everything else outside of those four things outside of the middle of the mix, just so that those four things that are the most loudest, or that occupy the most headroom and are the loudest, have the space and the ability to be loud and clear. If you have everything in the same place, being up the middle, and you have them at the same volume, then you're creating a situation where you cannot maximize loudness, and you can't even maximize clarity. Let's take loudness out of it. You can't maximize clarity because the balance is off. All right, so number 3, things do not need to be as loud as you think they need to be. When things have their own space, you can hear things clearer and you can make things louder when they have their own space to thrive in. Okay. Fourth thing is, I would say, overproducing. So when I first made beats, it was, and I mean, we're probably all guilty of this, unless like you came in like really just be like on the Jetson sound. And you know, people talk crap on Jetson sound. I saw like memes with like 3 keys on 3 keys on the piano, but honestly, I thought it was so dope. I thought it was actually genius because everybody was trying to be so musical, and then Jetson comes and just strips it down to its bare minimum, and then the baby comes through and just, man, they were on a crazy run. So that's a big thing, arrangement. And then also with arrangement, I think of polarity, polarizing. So this is the same beat. What you're going to notice is I have a bunch of stuff going on, but I'm not playing all these things at once. All right. So let me show you what playing all these things at once means. All the music parts, right? Okay. Now, even with all those things playing, it's not as bad as my music when I first started everything playing. Because this is something to keep in mind with arrangement, guys. The more times you play it, the less special it is, right? Like I love what Mixing with Mike says. He says, if you're in an all white room and I forget the exact example he gave, but he's like, if you're in an all white room and you have, like, imagine you have a black, or let's do a red floor mat in the corner of a room, it's going to stick out because everything else in the room is white. Now, if you walk into another room and you walk into that room, the walls are white and the ceiling is white, but you have 8 to 10 different red rugs spread throughout the room, it's not really as special. It doesn't catch your eye as much as that one rug does. So you want to be able to have contrast and be polarizing with your arrangement. So what that means is there's times to have things play all the way through, like this string does right here. It's just all the way through. Okay. And then you have times where I have this flute where like it comes in and it dips out. Oh, my bad. Hold on. All right. And then same thing, like now the choir has a lot more going on. So there's a thing of having things like your sustained instruments, like your chords. Then you have things like your strings or excuse me, that are sustained as well, playing all the way through. Then you have things like your flute that are kind of just like come and go, come and go. And then you have your things like I have this choir that you just listen to it. Okay. You have things that are coming and going throughout the whole arrangement, but you just don't want everything to be going at the same time. If there is anything you guys want me to expand on, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Like, my bad, I've been taking some time to get to these comments. Although me reading your guys' comments, the feedback that I get from your guys' comments, it is really helpful. So please keep commenting. Follow me on Instagram, and I have something really exciting in the works that I'm working on finalizing with my bro Alexander Malik for our page, The Gumbo Groove. So I'm going to be doing a pretty big announcement here within the next week. So you guys stay tuned for that as well. But in the meantime, y'all be good to yourselves, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Watch out.